This is energy management for 10, 12, or even 14-hour days. Have you ever worked that long? I have, and it sucks. And so what I'm gonna show you in this video is how you can use your nutrition to at least optimize your body's efficiency and reach and maintain a peak level of performance even with a crazy long workday. If you don't know who I am already, my name is Zach. I got my degree in biochem. I specialize in peak performance for traveling professionals, helping them dial in their energy, focus, and attention while on the road. In this video, I'm gonna start off by going over the biochemical reality of nutrition and how that impacts your performance. Then we're going to go into actual tactics of what types of foods to eat and avoid at different times of the day, depending on what effects you want to have on your body. And then number 3 is we'll go into an implementation framework of mapping out an entire day and walking through different examples of how you can use your nutrition to best effectively support your energy. An example of somebody who's implemented this is my client Lucas, who is a closer and actually became the top closing professional at his company, set new company records. Actually, I think he shattered them by like 2x the previous record. So clearly it is doing something for his performance, and I'm excited to walk you through exactly how to do it yourself. So let's start off with the biochemistry of nutrition. Now, there's something in our blood called glucose, which is essentially a form of sugar. And when our bodies eat food, it's broken down into glucose, which is then used as energy or output, or is stored as fat. Now, when we think about glucose, there's 3 different macronutrients that impact the amount of glucose in our body. Those are proteins, fats, and carbs. Now, you might have heard that carbs get a bad rep, right? A lot of, there's keto and low carb diets and all this saying carbs are the enemy, stop eating carbs, they're the reason you're fat. As soon as you eat them, they get turned into fat. That is not true. First of all, carbs do get turned into glucose, but they stay in our bloodstream for 24 hours. So the biggest thing with carbs is that you actually want to use them within 24 hours in some sort of exertion. It can be literally anything, and your body will actually use them up, and they can actually be really beneficial, especially if you're doing strength training, which I'm a big proponent of for a variety of reasons. You can check out other videos on my channel to see why, but strength training is really, really massive for actually boosting your metabolism over the long term and is really good for longevity. So anyways, we want to be strategic with the times that we eat carbs because they are digested quickly by our body depending on what form of carbohydrates we're eating. Proteins are the building blocks for muscle. You might have heard of the term muscle protein synthesis. That's essentially when our bodies take protein, which is kind of like the Legos, break them apart and then synthesize them into new muscle tissue. And then fats are essential for proper hormone function, but if we eat a diet too high in fats, it actually can cause more inflammation. So we're gonna go through exactly how to do all of that, but I just wanted to start off with giving you a bit of biochem background of like what are these macronutrients, proteins, fats, carbs, why are they important, why should I actually be looking at them, and also be thinking about which macronutrients I'm eating throughout the day. So section 2 is gonna go over the actual protocols. So when it comes to proteins, fats, and carbs, what we wanna do throughout the day is get protein in consistently. Now, the reason we wanna do that is because typically, and what you'll see if you work with us, we give you a pretty high protein goal. Now, the reason we give you a high protein goal is because that's gonna do 2 things. Number 1 is it's going to fuel your muscles and actually give them something to build off of as you incorporate strength training. Number 2 is that protein actually has the highest thermic effect of food, meaning it takes your body the most amount of energy to break it down out of the 3 different macronutrients. So simply just by eating more protein, your body will be burning more calories just to break it down. Not to mention, it will then use those broken down versions of the protein, which are called amino acids, to then rebuild your muscle tissue even bigger and stronger than before, which will then raise your metabolism, causing you to burn even more calories. So if you see where I'm going with this essentially turns your body into a calorie burning machine where you can eat more and more food and still lose body fat. The second macronutrient I want to focus on is fats. Now, when you eat fats, they're not like carbs in that they hit your bloodstream quickly. They actually take a little bit longer to process. Finally, with carbohydrates, there are 2 different types of carbohydrates. There are quick digesting carbohydrates, which are called simple carbs, and there are slow digesting carbohydrates, which are called complex carbs. Now, as you might imagine, simple carbs are called simple carbs and are digested easily because they're very simple. And so they take our bodies just a few small adjustments to the molecule for it to turn into glucose and be able to be used as energy immediately. Complex carbohydrates have more fiber in them and typically take longer for our bodies to digest and break down. So with that knowledge, now let's actually go into the implementation framework. As you're structuring out your day, what I want you to be thinking through for maximum productivity and output is typically having mostly proteins and fats during the times where you're using your mind the most, but sitting down for long periods of time. So for example, if I knew I was going to work a long 10, 12-hour day, I would just want to be fueling up with proteins and fats for breakfast and lunch as an example. What this is going to do is I'm not going to have any big glucose spikes, right? Big glucose spikes come from when you have something high in sugar or something high in some other simple carb where your body can break it down immediately and give you that spike of glucose, right? So to avoid those spikes, we want to have most of our meals during the day be higher in proteins, higher in fat. Now, we still do want to have carbohydrates though, because like I mentioned earlier, they are very good for helping us actually build muscle and put it on. Now, the timing of those carbs does matter though. So if it's a day where you do have time to exercise, then I want you to eat simple carbs about 30 to 45 minutes before the workout, because those will then hit your bloodstream and be able to be utilized by your body when you're actually working out. Complex carbs can theoretically be eaten throughout the day because they take longer to break down, but those are usually best consumed after your workout or at night in your final meal. Typically what I like to do is my last meal of the day is where I have a bunch of my carbs for the day because I'm not about to go do any more deep work. So again, as a quick summary, proteins and fats throughout the day if you're sitting down doing heavy intensive cognitive work, carbs for before and after your workouts, and then complex carbs like things that are higher in fiber, whole wheat bread, whole grains, those types of carbs can be eaten throughout the day. If this video was helpful, let me know in the comments below what your biggest takeaway was. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it so I know to make more just like this, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.